Hey guys, I'm John Setzler and welcome back to Atlanta Grill Company. Today we're going to start off a new project called the Gadget of the Month. And this month's gadget is the FireBoard SPARK. And I'd like to take a few minutes to show you this new product from FireBoard and how well it works. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is show you the Spark, and what this is, it's just like a typical instant read thermometer. When you pull the probe out, just like you would with any other, the display comes on and it starts showing you the temperature. And this display changes orientation very smoothly as you turn the device. So it's ambidextrous in that aspect. If you're left-handed and want to switch it around, you know, it works equally well from both directions. On this end of the thermometer, you have a port that opens up, and inside that port is a USB-C connector that you use to recharge the internal batteries on this device, and there is a probe port for an external thermometer. For size comparison, I've got my Thermopen 1 here so we can have a look at the size. These things on the external dimensions here are approximately the same size. Where the FireBoard comes in a little larger is on the thickness. It's slightly thicker than the Thermopen 1. It may be about 50% thicker. The FireBoard is also slightly heavier than the Thermopen 1. The Thermopen 1 weighs in at 4.1 ounces, and the FireBoard weighs in at about an ounce more, maybe 1.1 ounces more. So the FireBoard is a little heavier than the Thermopen as well. And of course, one thing that everybody's going to want to know is how fast is the FireBoard SPARK compared to the Thermopen 1 in an instant read scenario. What I did is the same thing I did a while back when I did my instant read thermometer shootout. I set up my sous vide bath at 155 degrees, and I used my handheld stopwatch to time these, so this is not scientific by any means, but I did 5 consecutive tests of each of these from ambient temperature to 155 degrees Fahrenheit. And the 5 tests I did with the Thermopen 1 range between 1.6 and 1.8 seconds on each of those tests. And the FireBoard SPARK ranged between 1.8 and 2.0 seconds for each of those tests. So the FireBoard SPARK is within an average of 1/4 of a second in instant read time with the Thermopen. So it's very fast and very effective as an instant read thermometer. The FireBoard SPARK also has an IP66 weatherproof rating, which means it's dust safe, obviously, and splash proof, you know, rain, you know, whatnot. It's not fully waterproof, but it's good enough for barbecue. So that is where this guy starts to separate from everything else on the market. Let's talk about the things this will do that none of the other ones will do. The first new feature that the FireBoard SPARK has that none of the other instant read thermometers have is that it can have an external probe connected to it. So I'm going to connect one, and the bad news is this guy does not come with an external probe. You have to either provide your own or use one of the FireBoard 2 probes. If you already have a FireBoard 2 system, those probes will work with this. So when I power this guy on with the external probe connected, or if I connect the external probe after it's powered on, I get a reading on that external probe. So you can use this as a leave-in thermometer. This guy can monitor your the meat that you have on your grill or in your oven or anywhere else. And one of the other things I forgot to mention, when I was comparing this to the FireBoard is this guy has magnets. This guy will stick to a metal surface, unlike the ThermoPen. So that's an advantage as well, especially if you want to stick it on the side of a grill or a metal grill table or a refrigerator or the external part of an oven while you've got some meat cooking on the inside. The next really cool thing that this guy will do is while you have that external monitor probe in there, if you want to take an instant read, you can just pop out the instant read thermometer and you have a new screen that pops up. This one that's in the white background here shows 66. That's the reading from my external probe, and my instant read thermometer comes up and displays that at the same time. So I could take an instant reading of something at the same time while I have the leave-in probe in there. One of the other great new features of this guy is it will connect to Wi-Fi, and that gives you a lot of cool functionality. That means that you can monitor your leave-in probe. If you've got it in a piece of meat somewhere, you can monitor it through the FireBoard app on your phone. If you already own a FireBoard temperature control system, the capability goes even further. You can set this guy up in the monitor mode by going to the menu and going to settings and turning the sync mode on. And when you turn the sync mode on, if you have a FireBoard running, which I do, it's going to come up and show you the data that it's getting from that FireBoard. I've got my Classic 3 outside running at 250 degrees. I've got a piece of meat on there that the internal temperature of is currently 54 degrees. And if I had multiple probes running, it's going to cycle through all of those probes and let me know what the temperature is as the cook progresses. Now, this has a battery saver feature with this and with the external probe mode. After a certain amount of time, the external probe mode is 10 minutes I tested, and I'm thinking this one's probably the same. The screen's going to go blank after it's been sitting idle for 10 minutes, but once, if it goes blank on you and you want to reactivate it, all you have to do is kind of pick up the device and move it a little bit, and it'll wake back up on its own, and it'll start displaying those temperatures for you once again. The battery life on this guy seems to be incredible. I'm going to put up a couple of screenshots here I took. I left this guy running my external probe overnight recently just to see how long it would go, and it went from a full charge down to about 10% of the battery being left, and it went for 17 hours, which I think is pretty awesome. I really don't think there's going to be a whole lot of cooks where you need to go a lot longer than that. But if you do need to go longer than that, you still have the option of coming back here to this probe port and connecting a USB battery. And if you connect a battery to this thing like that, it's going to run indefinitely as far as I'm concerned in terms of cooking. You're never going to run out of battery. So at any given point of use on this, if you're interested in seeing what your battery life looks like, you can go down to the device info screen here, and let me see if I can move that where we can see it. It'll show you the firmware version, and your firmware will automatically update when you connect this thing to Wi-Fi. You don't have to do anything. It's showing me that my battery is at 99% at the moment, and it's also showing me my Bluetooth connection. It is connected to my phone at the moment via Bluetooth because my phone's close by, and it's showing me my Wi-Fi connection and the Wi-Fi signal strength. I let the screen time out there and let it close up out of settings, but it gives you all the information you need to know if you want to see, you know, about your Wi-Fi connectivity. You can see that signal strength meter there along with the battery power that's left. So that kind of gives you an indicator if you want to look at that to see when you need to plug it in to charge it. That's where you need to go. So if you're looking for a really cool instant read thermometer that's fast and got a lot of additional functionality, you might want to give the FireBoard SPARK a try. This guy is $150, and if you want the additional probe, they sell for $16 or $17 for an individual, and like I said, if you need that. If you already have a FireBoard too, you've got a probe that'll work. So Guys, until next time, this is John Setzler with Atlanta Grill Company.